Jay is our moderator on this side over here. I'm also going to do a little show and tell today. Not to flex or anything, but just to show you guys how I did this. Okay, I visualized this. I wrote an affirmation for it, but mostly I visualized this. And I'm going to show you guys how I did that. Okay, the visualization process. And we're going to talk a little bit about this watch and how I did this. Anyway, so visualization, why is it important? Okay, it's important because of the way you're designed. Okay, the way human beings are designed. Now, let me explain. The subconscious does not distinguish between fantasy and reality. Okay? So that means, good morning, Manuel. Good morning, Manuel. Hi, Sylvia. Good morning. The subconscious does not distinguish between fantasy and reality. Okay? So you can show yourself, okay, yourself in here, okay? You're not your body, you're not your name, you're that spirit that lives in here, okay? So you can show yourself an image of something. Okay, so I teach people how to use screensavers. So my screensaver here is of my companies. So these are my companies and their, oops, there we go, and their logos over here. So there's 6 of them there. And actually there's 7. There's one on the bottom here. I didn't see that one right off. There's one down here. We're no longer doing that. That company has been sidelined. We just kind of put it in the back burner. We're not doing that. Well, we used to. So at one point we had 7 businesses that we were operating, and now we have 4, but 6 companies that we own. So 6 active, 4 active, 6 total. Okay, but and they're all companies that you can search up and everything, and we'll give you details on that later. But what's important is not the companies themselves or whatever, but the visualization part of it. So what happens is when I get a negative thought, and we teach you guys how to do this to control your thoughts. A lot of people don't know how to control their thoughts. They go, well, I just think this thing, and and then they become victims of their thoughts. Their thoughts hold them hostage. Okay, how does that happen? Well, you get a negative thought. Okay, if you don't change or stop that negative thought in 6 seconds, your amygdala brings you a whole bunch of what ifs. Okay, then your imagination kicks in, and now you're imagining what could go wrong. Okay, what if this? What if that? 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 Your amygdala starts to do that to you. Okay, and you start to think about these other individual thoughts. Then what happens? Then your amygdala keeps going. And then what happens? Then for each of these thoughts that you get, these negative thoughts, right? Maybe the second what if you start thinking about, then the amygdala gives you more what ifs about that thought, about that what if, okay? And all of them are negative. So you need to get out of negative thoughts like right away. So you say stop and refocus. So one of the things that I use this for is refocusing. Okay, so I have my company logos on my phone, and I say stop, and I pick up my phone and I look, and there it is. Now I focus on my companies and I think about it. I just look at the logos and I go, wow, yeah, it's been a journey. Yeah, I think about the work that went in. I think about the projects that we did. I think about the accolades that we received or whatever. Sometimes it's the reviews I think about, positive reviews we've gotten from people or whatever it is. But I think about the good stuff. Okay, and how grateful I am to be, at this point in my life where I have accomplished these things. Okay, and not so much giving myself credit, just to be grateful. I'm just thankful that oh, this, this happened for me because I planned it, and then I took the steps, the same steps that I'm teaching you. I took the steps, and boom, they just happened. Okay, and I realized that the how is God's job. Okay, and I always thank God, but that's me. You don't have to believe in God. Okay, I'm just saying that's my process. Okay, but visualization, what it does is it pulls you into a different reality. Okay, now I know what you're thinking, right? Like, different reality, what? Yeah. Okay, when you're focused on a new car, let's say it's a car. Maybe you see a car online. Okay, like it's a red Corvette convertible maybe. Okay, and now that's preoccupying your thoughts. You start thinking red Corvette convertible. Okay, maybe you like it online. Now the algorithm shows you the convertible more Corvette convertibles. Okay, more red ones maybe. and you start seeing this online. Okay, now you go into your neighborhood, you're not on your phone, and you see it in the neighborhood, and you go, what? That's because you have a reticular activating system in your brain stem. Okay, so you can bring things from online to real life. Yeah, trippy, yeah? Mm-hmm. So, how does that work? Well, because your reticular activating system is a filter, it filters in what you're focused on and filters out what you're not focused on. So there was always red convertibles in your neighborhood, red Corvette convertibles, right? They were always there, but you didn't notice them. Why? Because your attention was on something else. But now that you're thinking about it, your reticular activating system goes, hey, look, see, oh, look at that one over there. Hey, there's one in the parking lot over there. Oh, there's one passing you over there. Or you're behind one of them right there. Look at that, right? And you start seeing these things. You start noticing these things. And how does this help in manifestation? Because when you set a target, it becomes shown to you. Whereas maybe when you weren't focused on a target, it wasn't being shown to you. Okay, so this is an advantage for you. It's an advantage to bring it to you. Okay, to bring it to your attention. And what happens when you focus on something, right? And you can look this up. This is scientific. When you focus on something, you get more of it. It intensifies. Okay, visualization. So it's important. So when you get a negative thought, say stop and visualize something else. So put a picture of your dog on your lock screen, a picture of your significant other, whatever makes you feel good. Okay, so I always say for people to focus on things you love and people you love. Things you love and people you love. What happens when you put things on your phone? You start seeing these things. You start attracting these things. Does it attract like magic? Is it some kind of energy voodoo thing that God just pulls it and gives it to you? No, it's not that way. Okay, so what happens is when you're focused on the car, let's say, okay, the red convertible, when you're focused on that, right, a belief goes into your subconscious. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. You keep thinking about the car, then what happens? Then your subconscious goes, oh, we're working on the car. Okay. Then it starts to create pathways to your goal, to the car, because that's what you're focused on, because that's what you're concentrating on. And then what happens? Good morning, Mugali. And then what happens? And then maybe one of the thoughts is, well, maybe you should get a side hustle. Maybe you should get a car loan. Maybe you should go test drive the car. Go down to the dealership, start a conversation, see what's available, see what kind of financing's available. Okay, so those are all pathways to the eventuality, to the goal. It's not magic. It's you. Okay? But people tend to, look at these things that, oh, that's too hard. Oh, that's too much. Oh, that's not for me. Or I'm not good enough. Or no, that doesn't happen to guys like me or girls like me. That's only for rich people. Or that's only for people that, that's only for people that have stuff. No, it's not. And if you think that money is the only way you can get something, you're suffering from limited thinking. Period. Period. I've done so many things without money. So many things. Why? Because once it's in your subconscious, all right? Once it's so you put it, do an affirmation first. I am so happy and grateful now that I have the red Corvette convertible. Thank you. Okay? Example. Now your subconscious is creating pathways towards it once you believe it. Okay, so let's say you wrote it down for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you feel a shift. Okay, so now your subconscious is going, oh, the target is the car. Okay. And maybe you go and test drive it. Okay, I had a client. I was working with her daughter. And she came in and she had a van. And I've told this story if you've heard this story. And if you've listened to the live, if you watch it live, you probably heard this story. Okay, bear with me. There's new people. So I had a client. And I was working with her daughter. I was teaching her daughter. I've been teaching for 37 years. Okay, this stuff I've been teaching since 2007. We started Here For You Life Coaching in 2010. Okay, I started my research in 2007. So anyway, this was a little after 2010. This was like maybe 2013, something like that. And so I was teaching her daughter, and she started complaining to me. She started telling me, I have this van. My van's breaking down. I got to pay so much for car repairs and this and that and whatever. She had a Dodge Caravan. And I said, well, do you know about affirmations? And she's like, no. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give you an affirmation. I want you to write it every day, 2 times a day. In the morning and at night, I want you to read it out loud at night as well, before you go to sleep. So I taught her how to do it. Okay, there's a way to do it. And so I am so happy and grateful now that I have my new van. Thank you. That was her affirmation. And she wrote it for 2 months. Okay. At the 2 month mark, she comes in. So it takes 66 days to become solid in your subconscious. Okay. After 2 weeks, you feel a shift. You feel more positive about it. You feel more like, yeah, this is good. I'm on the right track, like that. Okay. And then 66 days, it's a program in your subconscious. And then your subconscious, does what I told you, right? It makes pathways towards a goal. She comes in 2 months later. She goes, you'll never guess what happened. And I love these stories, right? I love these stories. And I go, okay, what happened? She goes, well, one of my good girlfriends, like her husband's in the military and he got orders. He has to leave Hawaii. And she said, I can have her van. I just have to change the title. And I'm like, wow. So I wanted to find out, like, is it fairly new? And I said, well, how many miles on it? She said 11,000. She goes, it's almost brand new. She goes, it's immaculate. Like it looks like brand new. They kept it really well, right? And I'm like, well, there you go, Hoku. It didn't cost her a dime. Okay, it probably cost the tax, whatever, to do the title. I don't know. I don't do those things for my car. My dealer does those things for me. But anyway, whatever is involved, right? That fee or whatever. But compared to buying a good secondhand van or buying a new van, right? So don't think that money is the only way you can get something. Okay, I have tons of clients that did that, like tons and tons of clients over the years that have gotten things like that. Okay, or discounts and things of that nature. Okay, so don't always think about money. Think about what you love, the people you love, and the things you love. Does it involve meditation on positive goals? Yes. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Gramier, I hope I'm saying that right. Gramier 55. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. One thing I want to manifest is health and truth. Yeah, write an affirmation. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm healthy and have found truth. Do that. And health will start to, you'll start to call to mind healthy things, eating healthy things. You're going to not feel well or not feel good about eating, processed things or junk food, that kind of thing when it's in front of you. Okay. So anyway, don't think that it's all about money. Okay, it's not about money. I can't tell you how many things that I've manifested that and when I say manifest, okay, let's call it goal setting if you want to. Okay, it's not a magic thing, it's your subconscious. Okay, I've achieved so many goals. Let's say it that way so it sounds more practical for you, okay? Because manifestation has been presented to you like witchcraft or like some, some spooky entity grants you a wish. No, it's not like that at all. Okay, it's subconscious. It's subconscious. So, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. If you put my name into any AI browser, okay, if you put my name into any browser, period, Google, whatever, and put teaching method after that, okay, a whole ton of stuff will pop up, information will pop up, and you'll have it all free, okay? So you don't have to, I don't have a course to sell you, okay? I work with people privately, one-on-one, okay? And it's expensive, okay? We created a half hour. Does it involve meditation on positive goals? Yes, of course. It involves meditation on everything. Because unless you meditate, you're consistently going, okay? You're consistently distracted into the physical world. We always talk about that. Stick around. I might go over it. I go over so many different things in a live because some people are new. Some people need to hear a bigger picture so that they get a bigger picture. Some people need to expand their thinking. Okay? Because the physical world has you believing certain things about, well, you can only get things this way, or it takes money to do this, takes money to do that, and money doesn't grow on trees, and blah blah blah. You got to work hard, all that stuff. Okay, you may have to work long. I don't work hard. I've never worked hard. I don't look at it as hard. I work long. I put in long hours. Okay, but concentration is the big thing. Applied focus is the key. It's not about working hard like manual labor. Although if you do manual labor, it's going to be hard. Like I see guys that, do construction, for example. They carry heavy things. They they do a lot of industrial things that are hard. They're not easy. You need strength for that. You need a lot of energy for that. So there are jobs that are hard in that respect. Okay, but for a lot of those guys, they're fit. They don't see it as hard. They're having fun doing it. I see these guys on the side of the road. They're operating jackhammers and stuff, and they're laughing and they're having fun doing it. So it depends on the individual. Now, if you're gonna tell me to go hold a jackhammer and do that kind of, I'm not gonna want to do that. That's not my thing. Okay, I use my brain. Okay, but your brain is very important for manifestation because you need to have applied focus. Okay, that being said, I follow a carpenter. Okay, I'm going to give you both sides of things. I follow a carpenter. Okay, and he's on TikTok. And he's awesome. I've never seen a guy approach carpentry like he does. Okay, and he shows you how to think about certain things. And he measures off this stuff. He cuts wood. He does all this stuff, right? And he's doing some industrial things, right? And if you look at him, he's cut. He's physically fit. He's strong. But to him, it's not hard work. Okay? And he's using a lot of applied focus to what he does. And he looks at things a different way, and he shows you a different way to look at it. My uncles, a lot of them were in construction. A lot of my family was in construction. I've been around construction people my whole life, but I never saw anybody like this guy. And once in a while, I post him on my Facebook, and it's unrelated material to my Facebook. My Facebook is about news and current events. Okay, but I post it to my Facebook because he's so incredible. And I admire the guy. I admire anybody who thinks outside the box. Okay, because like I explained to you, the left and right brain thinking. Okay, the right brain, right hemisphere of the brain. Creativity is, you get it from there. Okay, the left hemisphere is logic. Okay, mathematics, those things. Okay, and I pull to the right a lot. Okay, but that being said, the journey of Moses in the Bible is the migration from the left brain to the right brain esoterically. That's what it's about. That's why Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, not the left. You'll never hear Jesus, he sits at the left hand of the Father. No, the right hand. They're talking about the right hemisphere of the brain. Okay. So, anyway, visualization. Let's get back to that. Okay. See, I take you guys all the way out to the left. Okay. Because there's things you need to think about. There's things that you've been presented with that are of the physical world that have nothing to do with the spiritual world. And you have the edge because you're a spirit in here. Your body is physical. Your body is the interface into the physical world. Without your body, your spirit cannot stay here. Okay? Without your body, your spirit goes. And one day, your body is going to release your spirit because you will be too old. And your body just allows you to leave. Okay? The only sad part is that, yeah, you're not partaking in the things that you have, the things that you've acquired, the life that you've lived. You have to leave that behind. But there's a new one coming. Okay? We're not going to get into that. Okay? But the visualization part is to help you in the life that you have. in the life that you've been given. And this is a blessing. It's a blessing to be here. It's a blessing to be a human being. Okay, and this is not a religious thing. This is just a spiritual thing. It's a fact. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience. And there is two worlds. And you're a part of both. Okay, physical and spiritual. Also enjoy being here. Oh, thank you, Mogali. Thank you, thank you. I'm excited to leave my shell when it's time. Yeah, your body is a shell. Yeah, you could look at it that way. You could say that. Yeah. When it's time, you leave your shell and it's the next adventure. Okay. You could pop back in another shell. We don't know. We don't know. But you live this way one time, okay? So max it out. Okay? And it doesn't matter if you're old right now. It doesn't matter if you're young right now. Because when you're young, right? Especially in your 20s, 30s, right? When I was in my 20s, I was like, how am I ever going to do anything in life? How am I ever going to achieve anything in life? I did not know how. I couldn't see it. I couldn't imagine it. I knew what I wanted to do. But I didn't know, like, how would this happen for me? I had no idea. And then I dropped out of college. I dropped out of college in my 30s. And I'm like, that's not for me. There was nothing there for me. How am I ever going to achieve everything that I wanted to do? And now when I search myself online or whatever, I see everything that I was dreaming about when I was 12, 16, 25, 30. All of those things materialized. Every single one of them. How did that happen? I don't know. I just kept going. I just kept one thing after the other. And they just kept surfacing in my world. Why is that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Today we're talking about the visualization side, okay? So the subconscious doesn't know if what you're looking at, if you're really experiencing it, or if you're looking at a picture. It doesn't know if when you're watching a movie, if you're actually going through those things, or if you're just observing those things. Your subconscious doesn't know. Okay? Your reticular activating system in your brainstem starts to filter in your dominant beliefs. Okay, I made notes because some of these things I don't mention. Your emotional focus. I always tell you what you're focused on, right? But it's your emotional focus, your dominant beliefs, your recurring thoughts, all of these things. Okay, thoughts that you keep thinking that become beliefs in your subconscious. Your reticular activating system starts giving them to you. What are you thinking about? Flowers? Okay, pretty soon your reticular activating system will show you flowers. Flowers, flowers, flowers. You're driving in the car, you look over to the side. Whoa, nice flowers. Right? Pretty soon somebody brings you flowers at work. Or your boyfriend or husband sends you flowers if you're a woman. Right? Nobody sends me flowers. I'm just saying, right? So women, right? Ladies, right? And you get flowers. Why? Well, you're thinking about flowers. And somebody shows up random and brings you a plant or orchids or something with flowers, and you go, wow, I was just thinking about flowers. Yeah, you were. But that's the reticular activating system. How does that turn into the manifestation part? Okay, here we go. Pay attention. Here we go. Now that your reticular activating system is filtering in the topic, because the topic is in your subconscious, the superconscious gets involved. You have 3 states of awareness in you: conscious, subconscious, superconscious. The superconscious is God. It represents God, or whatever you think your higher power is. Okay, higher self, God, Jesus Christ, Allah, Jehovah, whatever, those things. Okay, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Okay, I say Father God, I believe in God, but everybody's different, okay? You don't have to believe in God. It's not mandatory, because you're gonna manifest anyway, regardless, because human beings are all the same in here, okay? But whatever your process is, whatever your belief system is, there's the superconscious. What does this do? This looks at what's in your subconscious, okay? It helps you according to what you believe is true in your subconscious, and it amplifies this. It opens the doors. It accentuates what's in your subconscious. It helps what's in your subconscious. It assists what's in your subconscious. It allows what's in your subconscious to become a reality by opening doors, bringing in the right people, the appropriate people to achieve your goals. Okay? Let me give you an example. If you've heard this example before, just wait. I'll whiz through it. Okay? You want to work at XYZ company. Okay? That has been established in your subconscious, let's say. Okay? So you've been writing, I am so happy and grateful now that I work at XYZ company. Thank you. And you've been writing that maybe for, I don't know, let's say 2 months. Now it's a firm belief in your subconscious, right? I want to work at XYZ company. Your subconscious goes, oh, okay, we're working on XYZ company. Your superconscious goes, oh, okay, XYZ company's in your belief system now. Now you believe you're going to work at XYZ company because you're writing the affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm working at XYZ company, right? Not that I want to work, not that someday please allow me to work. No, I'm working, okay? It's happening because you write it in the present tense, okay? Because your subconscious doesn't know fantasy from reality, okay? All right, so the superconscious goes, oh, you're working at XYZ because that's the belief? Okay. And then one day, maybe 2 weeks after you start writing the affirmation, let's say 2 months after you start writing the affirmation, you go to the gym. You're a gym. And you're working out, and somebody's there, and you start talking, you start making conversation. And then pretty soon that person, you go like, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm in human resources. Where do you work at? XYZ company. I was just thinking of working for XYZ company. You see? Oh, yeah, we have openings. Come down and apply. And in a couple of weeks, guess what? You get hired at XYZ company. There you go. That's how it happens. It's not magic. Okay? It's not magic. But when you put forth the intention and you marry it with emotion, manifestation happens. Because your subconscious believes it. God looks at what's in your subconscious, looks at what you believe, and go, okay, we'll make that happen for you. We'll open the doors for you as you take the steps towards a goal. And sometimes, in this case, right, the superconscious goes, okay, well, you're at the gym. Well, maybe there's somebody at the gym for you. And it works it out that way. Now, if you talk to somebody scientifically, they'll go, I don't know if it works that way. Okay? But I've had so many instances of things working that way for me, okay? Just so happens I meet the right person and boom. And this is why the how is God's job, okay? Because you can make a plan. Okay, first I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, and then this will bring me the goal. And you get to the second step, and what happens? God takes you out to the left, and then boom, everything you own in the box to the left. And then boom, it happens. And then what do? You go, wow, what a coincidence. Coincidence or divine intervention or divine influence or divine guidance? Now, if you believe in God, you have to believe that way. If you don't believe in God, then okay, everything's random. You're experiencing this random life and nothing makes sense. Everything's a coincidence in your life. Or it's all you. And if you're saying it's all you, that's another way of saying it's God. Because why? Because God lives in here. Because you're not your body, you're not your name, you're that spirit, that energy. You want to call it spirit energy that lives in here. And that's the spiritual part of it. That's the magic, if you will. There's no magic out there. There's no magic out there. There's no magic genie that's going to say, oh, okay, well, we'll grant you 3 wishes. You have unlimited wishes. Unlimited wishes. I keep putting forth intentions all the time, every day. And sometimes they happen, like right away, like within a couple days. And sometimes they don't. So I brought one of these. So this is not a flex, okay? I'm just gotta show you. All right, so I'm going to tell you the story of this watch. This is a pilot's watch, and it also goes underwater, I don't know, a lot, far, whatever, okay? And this was sitting in a jewelry store, okay? And I long story, I'm gonna try to keep this story short, okay? But the lady in the jewelry store gave me a catalog for another watch that I saw, okay? And I was working on that watch, and she gave me the catalog. This is a Citizen, and she gave me a catalog. Okay, I use this watch sometimes. I use this watch like to run around in, or do certain things in, whatever. I bang this thing up a bit, you know. But anyway, so when she gave me the catalog, it was like $700. I'm $750. I'm like, I ain't gonna pay $750 for a watch, right? At the time, okay. So it sat in the display case, and every day that I went by, right? So I wrote an affirmation for it, one affirmation. That's all. Okay, but I did a lot of visualization. That's why I brought it today. That's why it's here today. Visualization is the topic. So it was in the display case when you walked by the jewelry store. It was in the display case. So every time that I walked by it, I thought, well, I'm going to look at it. I'm going to do visualization. So I stood there, and maybe just for a minute, and I looked at it and looked at it. And the people in the jewelry store probably thought I was crazy because I was always looking. And they would see me looking at it, and I would look at it because I wanted it fresh in my mind. Okay, and I went to that shopping center a lot because my bank was there. My bank was in the corner. I went to the bank almost every day. And when I didn't pass the jewelry store every day, but when I did, it was quite a lot. I would stand there for about a minute and look at the watch. Now, let me explain the process, okay, with your subconscious. When you're writing affirmations, you need to do it a lot. You need to do it. You need to do it for, I've been doing it for years, since 2007, okay? But you need to do it a lot. Let me show you what a lot looks like. And I know this looks crazy, okay? But these are affirmations. This is not journaling, okay? These are affirmations. I have the date on the side over here, okay? Like that. Okay, so they're affirmations. But once you condition your subconscious, it's like a muscle. Your subconscious is like a muscle. You have to do it a lot, and you have to do it every day, like once a day. Okay, you can do it twice a day if you want to, whatever. The more the merrier, okay? But you have to do it a lot, and then your subconscious becomes sharp. When your subconscious is sharper, manifestation happens faster. Okay, because it creates inroads and then more inroads. And if you don't like those inroads, it'll give you another variation. Okay, because there's unlimited avenues to what you want. There's unlimited, a picture asked to view it and hold what? A picture asked to view it, hold it, feel it. Yeah. So that happened later. But yeah, I'm telling you the story about this one. But yeah, that helps. That helps to hold it and feel it. Yeah. So you could do that with money too. So if you take if you do them on certain days over water spoken into it and then drink it, okay, that's not subconscious. That's a ritual. That's different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your subconscious, okay? I'm talking about thinking about it. I'm talking about applied focus. That's the topic. You're talking about a ritual. Okay, so, all right. So this was sitting in the window, and I keep looking at it, but because my subconscious is trained, okay? Because my subconscious is trained, visualization was working. Okay, now I didn't know it was working, okay? And I just kept doing this. And one day, about a year later, and I had been doing this over and over, okay? About a year later, they had lost their lease and they were going out of business. And the lady told me, well, Verizon is moving in and they're, closing us out, and we have to move because they're paying more, and we can't pay what they're paying. And so so basically a corporation was pushing this mom and pop's jewelry store out. Okay. And so anyway, this was still in the window. Nobody bought this, right? And I was like, wow, that's weird. Like, nobody bought this watch. Like, this is a cool watch to me. Anyway, I'm a dude, and I see all these, these gadgets, the whatever. This has world time. You get time in every city or whatever. So to me, being a dude, I'm like, yeah, that's a cool watch, right? So when I heard that they were going out of business, I asked a lady, because I know already it's $750. I know it from the catalog, right? I've seen it in the catalog. I know what the price is. Okay. So anyway, so I asked her to see the thing, kept seeing this thing, kept focusing on it, right? And the catalog price was $750. Okay, what is this? Oh, I see. But water does have memory, transforms structurally. Okay, so yeah, you need to go look at Masaru Emoto's research because it's been debunked. Yeah, so it doesn't transform the way you think it does, the way he said it does. It doesn't transform like that. Yeah, that's been debunked. I'm talking about solid science stuff. I'm talking about your brain. I'm talking about the way you think and your and the avenues that you will take. Yeah, go look at it. That's been debunked. So anyway, but I'm talking about what everybody can do, like right now, to manifest things, because that's the way human beings are made. So yeah, so our chat, we have a chat over here, and he was talking about water. You know how they say water changes when you bless it, or when you speak kindly to it, it changes form and stuff like that. Okay, that's not science. Masaru Emoto, the Japanese man who put out that those findings, they it turns out that science has taken a look at that, and it doesn't work that way. Okay, but you have the power to manifest. Like I said, this is not magic. This is not some kind of magic thing, or magic process. This is your subconscious. Anybody can do this, but you need to focus on things, because your reticular activating system will start to bring it to you. It will start to show it to you. In other words, let's say you're looking for a job, and let's say your job is, something that's not common. Maybe it involves biology, or something like something rare, something different. Okay, your reticular activating system will start showing you these opportunities. Okay, because you're focused on it. Okay, I can't even tell you how many of these things I did. Okay, so anyway, so that's what happens with the reticular activating system. Now, emotion is the programming mechanism. Emotion is the key. Okay, so I have a client right now that I'm working on his emotion, because he considers feeling to be dangerous in his mind. And he considers emotion to be dangerous because he goes, well, if you start getting into your feelings, so he feels right? He feels that if he starts feeling things, or if he becomes sensitive to things, it will be a detriment to him. But he's unaware, and I'm trying to get it across to him. He's more logical, he's more left brain. I'm trying to get it across to him that if he's more into his feelings, and he feels good about things, especially himself, that he will manifest more in life. Okay? So keep that in mind. We have been desensitized in society. We have been taught that, especially men have been taught, well, feelings are wrong. Okay, now I don't really think you should be a touchy-feely male, okay? But you need to embrace your emotions, okay? Fear is an emotion. Okay? Happiness is a choice. It's an emotion. Okay? Joy is an emotion. Okay? When you do something that's, let's say, successful, let's say you do something and you accomplish something, you should reward yourself by feeling it. Okay? Feeling the joy. And so I had to ask him, when was the last time you felt, good about yourself, or whatever, and he named the thing, and I said, okay, I want you to focus on that. And I want you to focus on the feeling and what happened, because you need to recapture the feeling. Okay, this guy has basically ignored his feelings or shut them off because he's thinking that it's dangerous. It's not dangerous. Okay? If you really want to get ahead in life, you need to feel things. Okay? I don't mean get emotional. I don't mean as a man you get emotional. Women are emotional. Look at what women manifest, and they manifest huge, and women manifest quickly. Quickly. Why? because they're more concerned about how things feel. And when they're not feeling it, what happens? The tide goes out. When they're not feeling it, things get worse. When they're feeling it, when they're happy, everything comes. Money comes, opportunity comes, boyfriends come, husbands come, whatever. All of that comes. Material things come, opportunities, whatever it is, jobs, whatever. Okay? But it's when they feel bad that things go out. It's the same thing with men. Okay? But women have women's intuition. First of all, we're talking about emotion, okay? It's the programming mechanism. In other words, you get a thought about something, but the emotion imprints your subconscious faster. Okay, so it's better to feel something to bring it into your world. If you can't feel, okay, or if you've shut off your feelings, let's say you've gone through trauma, let's say you've had bad experiences and you say, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm done with this, right? I'm done. Okay, if that's how you feel about it, okay, because that in itself is a feeling, shutting off your feelings is a feeling, okay, it's a decision, then you are going to limit yourself. You are going to be in limitation and lack. Why? Because you're not allowing. Because you're not allowing the broad scope of your feelings. Now, if you're a man, okay, you can be an alpha male and have feelings. Okay, I'm here to tell you, alpha male is the way you think. Okay, alpha male begins and ends here. Okay, it's not just the guys with muscles at the gym. Although I know a lot of those guys, okay? But here's the thing, right? Some of those guys are alpha here, and some of those guys are alpha in their muscles, their exterior muscles. Okay? Because that little, 5'2" Asian girl has complete control over them emotionally. And she has them wrapped around her finger. And she can push the right buttons that make those guys go into roid rage and things like that. Okay? I've seen it happen. Like, I've seen it. I had a hula girl. She had a boyfriend like that. And he looked like an alpha male, right? And then he started, breaking her dashboard by punching it all the time and, freaking out. Because why? Because he was weak here. Okay, he was weak here. Alpha male starts here. Okay, it doesn't start with your biceps. Love your way of processing and breaking things down to be understandable, reasonable. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Yosei. Thank you. Yeah. So that's what a teacher does. If you have a good teacher, a teacher will break things down. If you have a teacher that's trying to show you how smart they are, they're going to be way above your heads because they're going to be trying to show you how smart or how good of a teacher they are, and that's not a good teacher. Okay? I work with 3-year-olds. Okay, I have to communicate with 3-year-olds. And 3-year-olds and I get along real good. Okay? In fact, I tell this story once in a while. These grandmothers bring their grandchildren to me, and I make them confident. Okay, and mostly I teach them singing. Okay, because there's a very limited amount of things you can teach a 3-year-old. They're not there yet, right? But they understand energy. Okay, they understand muscles. Okay, they don't understand emotion, but you tell them, give me more energy, they'll do it. And then you hear more emotion, right? So energy is sometimes synonymous, and this is important for your manifestation, okay? Because sometimes it's not about you feeling good like it already happened. Sometimes it's just putting energy into your manifestation. Bring money, like that, okay? Into your subconscious. And once you do that, your subconscious will start looking for avenues for money. Okay, then money starts coming. Why? Because your subconscious is looking. Because you are aware at that point. And then money starts coming. You attract it that way. Okay, it's not the genie with the lamp and you rub the lamp and money just shows up. It's not like that. But the 3-year-olds, right? So this grandmother last year told me she brought her 3-year-old, and I got her 3-year-old like amazingly confident. And she said, she says, everybody else just takes kids when they're 6. You take kids at 3? And I'm like, well, it depends on attention span. And she goes, that's amazing that you teach 3-year-olds. And I'm like, well, the people that are teaching 6-year-olds and they prefer 6-year-olds, they just don't know how to teach. I mean, if you cannot communicate with a 3-year-old, okay, something's wrong. That's just my opinion. Okay. So the subconscious drives behavior automatically after you imprint it. That's the good part. Okay, the good part about my method, right, is that let's look at the subconscious tree. Okay, the roots of the tree is what you believe, your fundamental core beliefs, which form your paradigm. The paradigm is the trunk of the tree, which is your attitude, the way you see the world, your attitude towards the world, your worldview. And the fruits of the tree are your actions. The fruits of the tree get you results. Every action has a result. Okay, ages 1 through 7, the little sponges absorb. Well, yeah, I say that every day. Yep. Because they're not even part of consciousness until they're 7. Their first paradigm is being formed. So that's the subconscious tree. Okay? So the actions up here, the fruits of the tree, you will know them by their fruits. Don't pay attention to what people say. Watch what they do. Watch what they do. But what they do gives them their results. Okay? So the actions are based upon how they see the world, and how they see the world is dependent on what they believe to be true. Okay? And when new beliefs go into the roots, okay, the roots of the tree, the subconscious beliefs, it changes their paradigm. How do you do that? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. It works on the roots. It works on your subconscious beliefs. The good news is once you get it into the subconscious, okay, how long does that take? 66 days, right? Okay. Once you get it into the subconscious, your subconscious gets it. It goes, oh, okay, we're working on that. All right. We're doing that now. Okay. We have that habit now. Okay. And it starts to wash, rinse, repeat. So if you put a good program in there, and that program, let's say, makes you money. Let's say that program makes you healthy. Maybe it's about a diet. Maybe it's about exercise. Maybe it's about a new routine. Now it's easy. Okay? When you break your routine, you have to form another routine. Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the heart puff. Thank you for the heart puff, you guys. Thank you so much. 14, thank you, 14. Thank you, user. Thank you, 14 user. So that happens. Okay, so now the question is it easy to form a new habit? Yes, very easy. Is it easy to form a good habit? Yes, just as easy as a bad habit. Okay, bad habits happen subconsciously as well. Okay, you develop a bad habit so quickly, right? I used the cookie example. You go to a party. Okay, if you've heard this before, bear with me. You go to a party, right? Go, oh, can I try those cookies? Yeah, sure, help yourself. Try a cookie. Wow, that's a good cookie, right? A few minutes later, like, can I have another cookie? Oh yeah, help yourself, help yourself. Now you have another cookie, okay? Repetition, okay? Pretty soon you're looking at the cookie again. Wow, that was good cookies. Then you have another cookie, right? Pretty soon it's like, hey, where did you guys get these cookies? Oh, we got them at Costco. Oh, wow, those are good cookies. What do you have in your subconscious at this point? Good cookie. Cookie tastes good, right? I know where to get cookies, okay? And in a few days, you find yourself standing in line in Costco, holding the bag of cookies, and now you've got a cookie habit. That's subconscious. Repetition. You had the cookie, you had it again, you had it again, you got the information, now you're standing in line. That's how manifestation works. And pretty soon, you have a cookie habit. And then now you have a whole bag at home, and now who knows how many you're gonna have. That's repetition. Okay? So what's the opposite of that? Well, when you run out, you start getting used to not having cookies. And people replace bad habits with other habits. Okay, so well, we're not going to do that. We're going to do celery now. We're going to do celery. Okay, let's do celery. Okay, so you go out and you buy celery sticks. Okay, and then you have celery sticks, and pretty soon you're eating celery sticks. Because why? Because you get to like them, and they're healthy. And okay, so you have all the reasons, right? And then you have the action. Then it's the same thing, and then now it's celery. And this is why sometimes people get off an addiction. Okay, so they get off hard drugs or something, right? Maybe cocaine or heroin or whatever it is, right? And they start smoking cigarettes or drinking coffee. And then now they have a cigarette habit or a coffee habit or whatever it is. So it doesn't matter. It just matters that you do the repetition. It just matters that you decide, make a decision. That's the conscious mind. Okay? Make that decision, and then with repetition, it goes into your subconscious. Your superconscious will start working on your subconscious beliefs. Okay? And if that belief is, I love cookies, or I love these cookies, there you go. God will make a way. Okay? He'll make sure that when you get to Costco, there's cookies on the shelf, whatever. Okay? Personally, I don't think that that would happen. Okay? But maybe God makes sure you have the money, and then you can go get the cookies. Maybe the cookies are always there. You need a director. I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. That's not the topic. How do I find the right guy? Make an affirmation, Pepe. Make an affirmation. Okay, we did this on the radio. That's interesting that you said that. So we did this live on the radio in Hawaii. I used to be on the radio, and we did this live on the radio. It was for a girl though, but it works for women too. So, okay. We had people write down, three guys. There were three guys, and we had them write down what they wanted in a man. I mean, in a woman. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at your picture and I'm like, okay, man. Anyway, but they wrote down the qualities, okay, the kind of hair, the hair color, the height. What else did we do? Educational level, all these things. So write down the details that you want, okay, and then you'll meet that person because all three people met that person, like all three people. I've had many women that have had breakups. They come and see me because they want to heal with the vocalization exercise, and so they come to see me, and a lot of them have asked me about that, and I have them do that, and it works for them too. Yeah, so you got to write it down, okay? People don't like to write down things and organize things like that, but it helps. So if you write those things down, write down the qualities, write down the income level, the education level, write down that he's good looking, all your requirements, list them all. And then you'll eventually start meeting people like that because it will go into your subconscious. And your reticular activating system will start to expose these people. Okay, it will start to filter out the guys that you're not interested in. It will start to filter in these people, and you'll start meeting these guys, and you'll think it's magic. It's not magic. It's your subconscious, and it's your reticular activating system, and it's the superconscious. It's you as a human being. We have this power as a human being because God lives in here. Okay, God lives in you. Okay, so and you're a spirit, your energy in here, okay, is connected to the greater awareness. Okay, we are individual units of awareness created to the connected to the greater awareness. Okay, so that's the subconscious. So manifestation equals inner alignment between the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Okay, so the alignment is the conscious mind picks the target. With repetition, it goes into the subconscious. It becomes a program. Then the subconscious creates pathways to the goal. The superconscious assists the subconscious. Okay, and this is important to know. Okay, God, let's say it another way, God can only work with what you believe to be true. That's it. In other words, if you have a belief that works against what you're praying for, like if you're praying for a new car, but inside you, in your subconscious, you don't believe you're worthy, you don't believe you can do it, you don't believe, maybe nobody your family had a new car, and like, oh, nobody in my family had a new car. And you start to rationalize it in that way from your left brain logic. Okay. If you have a defeatist attitude, if you don't believe in yourself, that kind of thing, God will not be able to give you anything. Okay? Think about it. They don't tell you this in Sunday school. They don't tell you this in church. They don't tell you this in temple. They don't tell you this, in your synagogue. Okay? But whatever you're praying to God for, you have to be in alignment with. You have to be open to receive. You have to be clear in here. You have to be confident in here. In here, confidence is relaxation. You have to be relaxed. You can't be overthinking. You cannot contradict what you're asking for. Okay, for you Christians, Mark 11:24 in your Bibles. Ask, believe, receive. You have to believe. Part of believing is being open to receiving. A lot of people are good givers, but not very many people are good receivers. Okay, so how do you become a good receiver? You just say thank you. Okay, when somebody gives you something, just don't go, no, 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 what is this for? No, no, no. How many guys you see do that, right? They actually put their hand up like this, right? Body language, right? Stop, right? No, 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 what? You see? What do you do in that case? You make the giver feel bad. You insult the giver. Why would you do that? Okay, I used to insult the givers. Okay, I used to do that until I learned. And then I go, oh, I'm supposed to just thank the givers. Just say thank you. Ah, okay. When you start going, what's that for? It doesn't matter what it's for. It just matters that it's being given to you. Okay? Don't insult the giver. Be nice. Just say, oh, wow, thank you. So when kids used to bring in checks and stuff at my school, right? They used to bring checks from their mom or whatever. I would be, in the beginning, I had to make it a game so that I would get used to it. So I used to say, oh, thank you, Uncle loves money. And they used to laugh at me, right? Because nobody says that, right? Because you have hang-ups about money. Okay, when you don't have hang-ups about money, you can joke like that. So get used to it. Do it. Play that game. Okay? And I used to say, wow, Uncle loves money. Thank you for the check. And they used to giggle and they used to laugh at me. Probably went home and, talked about me and like, Uncle, he's so crazy. He told me thank you for the money. He loves money. So, but that's how I got used to it. All right. So I gave you a lot of information today. The practical formula for visualization. Okay. Get a clear image. Okay. Decide on the image. Decide on what it is you want. Okay. Repeated daily exposure, strong emotion, embodied belief. Okay. Precision focus. Okay. And aligned action. So your conscious mind, your subconscious, and your superconscious have to all be in alignment. You cannot ask for something and then not believe you're gonna get it and then get it. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so I'm getting the, stick around, fam. Stick around. We got an offer for you. So I have an offer for the people on TikTok. And we're gonna think about an offer for Facebook and for YouTube. We have YouTube. We have 7 platforms every morning. But my calendar is not that big. So right now it's just TikTok, okay? Be patient. Your offers are coming later on. But until tomorrow at 7 a.m., I'm Junior from Here For You Life Coaching. It's hereforyoulifecoaching.com. And all of the research for the vocalization exercise that calms and soothes and relieves is the one that takes away anxiety and stuff is on the website. So check it out. All the medical links are posted. It's on the hereforyoulifecoaching.com. Okay.